Hi. This is weird. Yeah, it's weird. Normally my videos I'll be outside walking around, but this time I'm not allowed to leave my house. So I guess we'll be doing this inside. I figured we'd do a Q&A, so I asked on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook if anyone had any questions, and I'll be answering that. And if you don't want to listen to me answer questions about myself, then you can click off this video and go watch. I have tons of others. I don't want to be wearing this shirt. All right, let's get started. There's nothing in here. It's just for the effect. I'm going insane. So a lot of these questions have to do with the current situation with the virus. And I actually made a video about how Albania is responding to the virus, and I will link it in one of these corners, in this corner. I'll link it in this corner. I don't know, one of the corners. You'll see the video. First question, is your family safe back in the States? As far as I know, yes. They all seem fine. Talked to a few of them a little bit, and they seem okay. How long do you plan to stay in Albania? I plan to stay in Albania, I don't know, we'll see. I kind of take things month by month. I have a contract with work until August, and then I will have to reevaluate and see what I want to do from there. But yeah, I haven't really thought too much about it. How did you start with videography, and what school did you attend? I started with videography after I moved to Hawaii. So after college, I moved to Hawaii, and I took a camera with me. And school, I went to a small school in North Georgia. Nobody really has heard of it, except for those few of you that I met there. Hi. But I moved to Hawaii and bought a camera and started just taking photos, and then realized that I preferred the video side of it because it was like creating something that no one had ever seen before, rather than taking a photo of something that someone else could take the exact same photo. You know, when you make a video, like the whole process, the music and the story and all of that can be something that has not been seen before. So I liked that. So that's how I started. I just bought a GoPro and yeah, just taught myself how to edit. What were your first thoughts when you first moved to Albania? I visited Albania once before. My thoughts when I first moved here were kind of like, I was kind of a little bit in shock because I had always like thought about and wanted to live in a different country, and then I was actually here and walking around and like listening to a language that I didn't understand anything. Yeah, it was a little bit jarring, but I got used to it pretty quick, and now it just feels like home. How do you travel to foreign countries when you don't speak the language? Most countries that I've been to know English decently well, with the exception of the country that I'm currently in, I guess. No, plenty of Albanians speak plenty of English, but English is spoken very widely around the world, very widely. Lots of people speak English around the world, and it's really not as difficult or as intimidating unless you go to these really remote, small places, which I've been to a few of, but even then, like just trying to communicate, like being able to talk with your hands and do charades. If you ever played charades as a kid, or now when you're in quarantine, playing charades might be a good idea. If you've ever done that, being able to communicate with people isn't too difficult. Also, Google Translate helps a lot. Always have it installed on my phone. How difficult is it for a cinematographist? How difficult is it for a cinematographist to live in a ghost city and yet he cannot be outside making videos? Well, here I am making this video. So, does that answer your question? Oh, this is so weird. Where do you work and what do you do? I can answer this one. I work at a nonprofit called Nehemiah Gateway. It's in Albania. We focus on a lot of education and social aid, social improvement sort of thing. And I am in their media marketing department. I do basically all the video, most of the photos, and a decent amount of the social media for this particular nonprofit organization. If you're interested, I'll put a link in the description of the website that I helped build. Have you learned to speak Albanian? I'm trying, and I maybe should take advantage of this quarantine to actually buckle down and learn some good Albanian. But yeah, I can speak a little bit. I understand more than I speak, but I can't have decent conversations with people. I can talk to the grocery store people and the whatever, but that's it. Fun story, I talked my way out of 2 tickets by speaking my broken Albanian. The cops were just so shocked that I was trying to speak Albanian that they just didn't really care and they let me go. So that's exciting. Do you feel safe in Albania having in mind coronavirus? I think Albania has made some pretty good regulations in terms of this, but yeah, I'm not that worried about it. If I get sick, I get sick, and that sucks. I'm trying to keep myself in my own house so that I don't accidentally carry it to someone else. Also because I don't want to get fined for being outside of my house. But yeah, I feel pretty safe. I'm not exceptionally worried about myself. More just worried about other people. Top 5 things to visit in Albania. That is a difficult question and a great idea for a different video. So stay tuned, I'll make a video about that. Oh, same person, top 5 things to do in Pogradec. I'll make a video about that too. I think those are very interesting. How has COVID-19 impacted life in Albania? I made a video about this. A little bit, it's kind of slowed everything down. All the shops are closed except for certain hours. You can go watch my video, it'll be linked below. My oven exploded this morning, what should I do? Well, Lindsay, probably should get a new oven. Has the virus been spreading in Albania, or has the quarantine helped to slow it down? It's really hard to tell because it has been spreading, but it doesn't seem to have been spreading super quickly. However, we also are unsure, I am also unsure of how many people have it and don't actually know that they have it. So that's a little bit daunting, but it doesn't seem to be spreading super rapidly here. I think the quarantine has helped people. If stores are closed there, how are people getting food and supplies? The stores are closed, and then there's usually a couple of hours each day that everything can be open, and then everyone kind of flocks to the stores to get stuff and kind of stock up. If you were in the middle of the road and had to choose between Albania and USA, what do you do? Right now, Albania, 100%, without a doubt. What's the best hike you've done in Pogradec or Albania? In Pogradec, I really liked hiking Malithat. I made a video about that as well. It's the mountain up overlooking the lake. In Albania, in general, not really sure. I did this one kind of hike thing. It was like a casual walk. Man, my hair is all over the place. I did this one hike, casual walk thing that was Holtes Canyon y Holtes, I believe is how you say it. And that was awesome. Yeah, it was very interesting. I like the slot canyons like that, so that was cool, but it wasn't much of a hike. When is your birthday? I don't know. What do you think about being alone in Albania? Well, I'm not sure what you mean by alone. I have friends, I have a roommate, but yeah, I don't mind it. I'm alone a lot. I like being alone. I travel alone. So yeah, being alone in Albania is fine. Do you finance yourself through YouTube videos, or do you have other jobs? Kind of answered this already. I definitely have a full-time job. And in addition to that, I have other ways of making money with remote work. I make a little bit on YouTube, like a very, very, very little bit on YouTube. Not that much, not enough to do much. Well, in Albania, it's enough to like buy my food for a month if I make enough videos, but for the most part, it's not that much. Dentist and health insurance in Albania. I have health insurance from the US, so I don't really know about health insurance here. I know that, you know, the public health care is free, so you can go to the public hospitals, but I also know that people don't think very highly of the public hospitals. So I have no idea anything about insurance here. What is your everyday work in Albania, and how do you describe the country in just one word? How would I describe, I already answered the first half of that, but how would I describe Albania in just one word? I would say underrated. What do you think of the Muslim call to prayer in Albania? Do you like it, or does it annoy you? I honestly don't notice it anymore. At first it was a little bit weird. I'd heard it before when I was in Indonesia in 2016, but yeah, I don't really notice the call to prayer anymore. I noticed it yesterday because there was no other noise outside. But no, it doesn't annoy me. Do you get cravings for American food or candy every now and then? Yeah, sometimes. I usually write them down. Like before Christmas time, I was really craving jalapeno Cheetos. So when I went back to my parents' house at Christmas, I definitely bought some jalapeno Cheetos. But for the most part, not really. What is one part of Albanian culture you wish Americans / the rest of the world would adopt? Now, I realize this is a good question. Thank you, Merritt. I realize this isn't exclusive to Albania, and I realize other places might do this, but one thing that I really, really like here is typically, not always, but typically, when you go out for coffee or sometimes a meal or whatever, and maybe this is just my personal experience, but it seems like you go and one person will cover the whole bill. So imagine me and 3 friends go out for coffee and I just pay for it all. In the US, often what will happen is I will send like a Venmo request to them and say, hey, pay me back this amount, this is how much you owe me for that coffee that I paid you. But here in Albania, what tends to happen is that then the next time they go out, the other friend a different friend will pay for everything. So it kind of like is this give and take and like a pay it forward type of deal, which again, maybe it's just my personal experience, but I really like that. And it happens here more often than I've ever seen in any other country. What do you find attractive in a girl? I guess I'd say like 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. But I mean, if you don't have one of those, it's not a deal breaker, I guess. How did the idea about making videos on YouTube start? I watched some videos from Casey Neistat and really liked what he was doing. I was already making videos at that point, but had not thought about making videos with me in them. It was always about other people. And so then I thought, oh, this could be fun, you know, if for no other reason than just to have memories to look back on. The best and the worst thing about Albania, oof. One of the best things, I don't know about ranking. One of the best things for me is how new so much of Albania is to me. Where I can go on a hike and I have not seen a photo of this particular landscape or anything ever before. It happens less now that I follow the right people on Instagram, but before this I'd never seen like the hot springs in Permet, for instance. I went there, had seen one photo of it, but it felt completely new and undiscovered to me. And so I felt like I was discovering something for the very first time. And for me I was, but you know, in the US, if you go to a national park or something, you've seen 1,000 different photos from 1,000,000 different angles, you know, that sort of thing. So I like that. Oh, and the worst thing about Albania, I don't know. It's really hard to say, and I don't want to offend too many people. There's this mindset that tends to happen where, oh, we're in Albania, we can't do anything. Oh, don't try that because it would never work. You know, very negative mindset, which is not in everybody, but I run into it a lot when I try to present ideas and stuff. And it's a little bit frustrating. People don't seem to have much drive. I'm sure there are people that do, but I just haven't met them. Are you planning to bring your family in Albania? I'm not planning on bringing them, but if they want to come, that's great. My mom is planning on visiting at the end of April, but it's unclear if that will happen at this point or not. Are you an American spy? No, of course not. Are you planning to go back home and never come back to Albania, or you're gonna live here forever now? I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. How long do you predict Albania can survive in quarantine? Honestly, I don't know. I don't know enough about how things are working to make a prediction on that. Do you ever regret leaving America for Albania? No. I had a conversation with someone the other day about how much happier I am here in Albania. And well, I've had that conversation a few times over the last week or so. Yeah. Definitely do not regret leaving the US in any way, shape, or form. Was there a moment where you thought about going back, that's it, I'm done? Nope, not even a little bit. Not a chance at all. How do you spend your time at home since the coronavirus came out? Doing this. What equipment do you use in video? I use a Canon EOS R for my main camera, and then I have a secondary camera that is a Canon 70D, and then my drone, I have 2 drones. I have a DJI Spark and a DJI Phantom 4. Can someone join you on your hiking trips? Absolutely. I often travel and hike alone, but that doesn't mean that that's necessary. I mean, I typically will meet people while I'm hiking, but yeah, if somebody wants to join me, shoot me a message on Instagram. Let's do it. If you would have the possibility to watch only one movie all your life, which would it be? Oof, I'd say Into the Wild. Love that movie. How did you start in photography? This is similar to how did I start video, but really I would just take photos on my phone, like in college for Instagram or whatever, but it wasn't anything like necessary. Then when I moved to Hawaii, bought a GoPro and realized, hey, people actually like the photos of Hawaii, so I'm gonna try to take better photos and learn how to edit them and that sort of thing. Are you gonna move out of Albania at some point? No idea. No idea whatsoever. Do you have any information on Christian fellowships in Tirana? I do not. I don't know much about any of the religious scene in Tirana. Do you have any information on language tutors who can teach us Albanian? In the limited time that I've spent trying to learn Albanian, other than just listening to people, I have used this YouTube channel called Learn Albanian Online. And I don't know if he's still active or not, but some of the videos that he was doing were very helpful for me. I'm also planning on moving there in August. Do retweet what Jack said, but also any tips or advice on moving and adjusting to life in Albania. Honestly, I would just say the same thing as tips or advice moving anywhere and adjusting to life anywhere, is just kind of try to get involved in your surroundings as much as you can, because moving to a new country especially can be very lonely and isolating. So if you don't make friends or don't have places to go or figure out certain things to do, it's going to be difficult. One of the things that helped me is kind of trying to start some sort of routine. So I would go running a bit, not much, but I would go running so that I could kind of like get a feel for like, okay, this is home now. Because at first it just felt like a vacation. I just felt like I was traveling like I always did. And then as soon as I started doing the same things that I would do at home, it felt more like home. Have you thought about visiting Kosovo? I've been to Kosovo one time. I would like to go again. What's your favorite Albanian food? I don't know. I don't really have favorite foods. I like most of the food that I can eat. How long do you think will last? Not sure what you're referring to. If you're talking about this whole quarantine situation, no idea. If you're talking about me in Albania, also no idea. What is the scariest moment you've experienced, and which country would you least like to visit and why? Oof, scariest moment. I don't know. I don't know about scariest. One of the scary moments that I've had was in Aruba. I cut the bottom of my foot open and was bleeding everywhere and didn't do anything about it. And then the next morning I got up and I was like standing in the shower and passed out because of a loss of blood out of my foot, and then had to get rushed to urgent care. And yeah, I just didn't really know what was happening. That was kind of scary. But yeah, I don't really know. What country would I least like to visit? I don't know. I feel like I'd like to visit all the countries. And like, the more scary they are to other people, the more appealing they are to me. So like, people might say North Korea, but I would love to visit North Korea. Or like any of those Middle Eastern countries that scare people. They always intrigue me. Yeah, I don't know. Hard question. Do you have a passive income source? And if yes, which one is your favorite? If no, why don't you have one? I don't really know. So I don't have a favorite. And why don't I have one? I've been working on it. It's difficult because I have been trying to figure out a way that does it that I'm actually interested in, rather than just doing it for the sake of doing it. Because if I'm only gonna be making a little bit, I wanna actually enjoy it to a certain extent. What do you think about people in Albania? Are they judgmental? Are they friendly? I think anyone, anywhere, you will find judgmental people, you will find friendly people. In my experience, almost every Albanian that I've met and interacted with has been very friendly, very helpful, very welcoming, very generous. Are they judgmental? I'm sure there are some that are judgmental, but that happens everywhere. Yes, they're very, very friendly. Yep, that's it. That's all the questions. Well, that's all the questions that I have time to answer. I didn't get to all of them, and maybe I will do this again at some point. This one was kind of heavily like quarantine focused, which is fine because that's what's happening right now. So I guess I'll upload it as soon as possible. But yeah, thanks for submitting questions. And if you have more questions, just ask them in the comments and I'll reply to as many comments as I possibly can, answering all of your questions in any way I can, as fully as I can. Yeah, anyway. Thanks for watching. Wash your hands, stay safe, and I'll see you later.